Welcome back, guys. Automotive Inc. Today we are working on what I call a classic. Okay, the vehicles change so much from year to year. A 2011 can kind of seem like a classic. This is my dad's 2011 GMC Sierra, and pardon me for 1 second. All right, I had to collect myself a little bit. This is my dad's truck. God bless you, pops, miss you. And today we're going to detail it. As we guys know, we use our vehicles and everything. Like, stuff gets dirty, stuff gets grimy. People ask me all the time, they're like, hey, it looks like your truck's clean all the time, your car's clean all the time. It is clean all the time because I clean it often. Hand grease, sand, dirt, stuff like that, and the sun is the destroyer. So we really want to make sure we get in and clean these surfaces. So I'm basically going to do a quick video. I'm not going to bore you guys with 20 minutes of me vacuuming the car and showing you before and after. Is going to be the more important thing, and then just give you a glimpse of how I do it, because when the cars get this dirty, this can be a 3 or 4 hour job, and that's why I stay up on it. You can see we got grime in all the little pockets, just little grease piles up here in the corner here, all of this stuff right here, as long as this plastic has not been bulged, then this is just probably hand grease, leg grease, stuff from bumping it, using the vehicle, stuff like that. As we get through here, I'm going to show you guys how I like to vacuum, how I like to get deep sand out, some of the methods I use. And believe it or not, guys, when it comes to cleaning leather in these surfaces, there's thousands of chemicals out there that you can go and buy for $8, $10, $15, $20 a bottle. And when I ran my professional detail business, the reason why I don't do it anymore, I was very thorough at it, but when COVID hit, I wasn't essential. So basically they shut down my business for a long time, and I had to go back to the working force, which is fine, because what I found is a lot of people keep their cars much dearer than what I would like to do, especially for the price. But at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to show you how you can keep chemicals out of your car, and stuff that you would use on your little baby. All right, and who doesn't love when you're holding your baby on their shoulder and they're just so cute and they're asleep and their hair just smells like, I don't know, a baby, right? And that's what I use in my vehicles, guys. I use Dawn Dishsoap Advanced 3. It is not going to harm you. It's not going to leave a greasy film. It's safe on ducks. Remember when they had that oil spill and they were cleaning up little animals with it? And then what I do is, once I get this thoroughly clean, then I use actually what's called Johsnons baby bar, not the baby shampoo. I use a baby bar soap. It puts adequate amount of oils back in your plastics that without being overly greasy, like say Armor All and some of those other ones. Those degrade your plastics over time. And then I don't like using a leather conditioner. I stopped using this 15, 16 years ago. I stopped using leather conditioner at $7 or $8 a bottle. A bar of Johnson's baby soap will wash this truck 24 times at $2. It's a little bit more elbow grease, but when you get in these vehicles, most of the surfaces should not be shiny unless they've just kind of worn down, like a steering wheel can get shiny over time versus matte. It'll lose its texture just from hand stuff. But your guys' hand grease, salts, sweat, things you may touch other places, like all of those cleaning wipes everybody uses to kill the germs before they get in here, you're carrying that with you everywhere you go, and eventually you touch something. That will take the sheen and the stuff off, I guess the lettering, if you will, off radios and stuff. So when I have a vehicle this dirty, guys, I will tell you this: do not use compressed air to blow out carpets. Reason being is compressed air will blow that sand up everywhere. It's going to go everywhere. You're not even going to see where it's going to go. It's going underneath your dash. It's going to get in wire. We don't want that fine granule, because sand sifts down in your carpet. So sometimes if there's a lot of sand, we just have to brush it. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And now I'm going to show you how we basically clean one of the doors, and then with the Dawn dish soap. Let it dry, and then we're going to come back with the Johnson's baby bar. And then I'm going to show you how this bad boy looks finished, because if you look here, this stuff, we got stuff way down in the cracks here. This is built up sand, and believe it or not, this will eventually, just from sitting on it, will wear into the painted leather, if you will, or dyed leather, whatever you want to call this stuff. It will come off in sheets eventually. Not a lot we can do about wear and tear, unless you're into that. I don't really bother with that a ton. But the methods I'm going to use are not going to hurt it in any way. So first things first, we're going to pull out all the mats, and then we're going to use compressed air only to blow vents out, blow the little rocks out of the steering wheel. We can kind of see we have dust and grime in here. You can see it here. I mean, the dashboard here. I mean, his truck's been sitting for quite a while. And again, we are going to change the water often in my method, and you can use the Johnson's baby bar on headliner. So we have some fly poop up on the ceiling over there. We have some hand spots. we're going to try and get this bad boy looking back new. And if you look really close to the steering wheel, you can kind of see what it looks like now. And after my method, we're going to see what it looks like after that. I think it's going to bring back a lot of this texture because lotion hand grease eventually fill these pores and make it kind of grody. So any standard shop vac will work. This was a gift to me a while back. This is a fine. This is one of the quietest, most powerful shop vac type systems you can use. It's a German vacuum. That's what I'm going to use, but you can use a shop vac. You can use your Husky. You can use your whatever brands. But we're going to pull out all the mats, guys, and then I'm going to basically show you this area because this is the driver area. It's probably going to be the most dirty. I wouldn't bother even trying to vacuum that dirt up. I would just pull it out, dump it in the trash, dump it in a hole you have in your yard, and then I'll show you how we're going to brush carpet if needed. Got my air compressor going, guys. I have this very generic tip. You can get it at the Harbor Freight. It's cheap. It is metal, so we're not going to get this super close to anything in here. But basically, I'm using this to basically blow all this off. You're going to get dirt and grime up here. If you just wipe that off, those fine particles can scratch it. So we would use this to blow off as much as we can. Get out as much as we can. Get down here in the vents. You can stick it in here, but be real careful not to scratch it. Now, when we're coming to working these seams out, you're going to pull this apart or pull it back, and you can use this to blow those seams out. So when I came back here and did this seat, it was pretty grimy. I was able to blow 90% of it. Again, metal, so don't let it touch the actual leather. It could scratch it. But basically, I'm getting out the upper stuff. And the reason why I do this before vacuuming is because everything that you blow is going to land back on your clean carpet. So we're going to try and get everything out. These grooves, the door pockets. And if you get stuff, if you don't blow it out, that's fine. If you don't have access to an air compressor, you can try and vacuum it out. But you're probably going to have a hard time getting down in these cracks that are way back there. So you can use those little keyboard cans of air. Just don't let that cold air out of those cans get really close to this. Use it from a good distance. Same on anything that's an electronic. We don't want to introduce cold, freezing moisture into any of those areas. Now, these consoles are always super hard to clean out. So what I'll do is, especially where they have this like velvet type material and around these screws, I like using my compressed air there to blow stuff out, but this was super dirty, so it all came up, and I just blew it out the door. We want to get pretty much the first lift of that stuff that's going to be hard to vacuum out done with the air. So I'm going to finish this out, guys, and then we'll get the vacuum in here. All right, everybody, so then what I like to do when I get the blowing of the upper levels out, you can remove the seats. There's some that have had so much dog hair that I've had to remove the seats to get it all out. But like I said, you're going to need a couple different tools. You're going to need a crevice tool, so you can use your straight nozzle here, and we're going to start with a pattern back and forth. We're going to have to go diagonal. Now, if you get in here and you seem to keep pulling up more and more sand, I will link in the video all this crap. It's super cheap. Here's a very non-aggressive brush, pretty soft. I wouldn't want to rub my face with it, but it's pretty soft. And what you can do is you can actually rake. See how the pattern it's coming out? That's going to pull the dog hair and the sand to the surface. Again, sand is naturally going to fall down, but that way you can actually kind of rake some of that out, and then you can just blow this out or clean the hair out if it gets stuck in here. But it really does a good job not getting clogged up with that. So I like to go through here and vacuum, and if I see more sand on top, then that's when I come in and brush. If yours is not that dirty, you've had it that long, you just have some superficial dog hair, that may come up with the vacuum, but if it's really hard, then just use it to pull it out and then vacuum it that way. So we're going to get vacuuming. You can see how dirty this is right in here, and I'll let you know if I have to brush it. I got the vacuuming done, guys. I really didn't have to brush it all that much, but you can see right now this is clean. Watch when you start doing this. See that you can still lift up some sand here and there. I would say this is pretty good, but there's been times where I've actually had to brush it 8 or 9 times to get sand out. And keeping in mind this has floor mats on it, so there is a lot of dirt in these. Now, when I talk about a crevice tool, everybody, I'm talking about this. To get underneath these edges, you're not going to pry up on those plastics. You're going to push down on the carpet and try and get that in as much as you can. That goes for everywhere here. You don't really want to pry any of those up, so just keep that in mind. So, as we can see, with a good vacuum, a little bit of time, and hopefully not a lot of dog hair or sand, this took about 25 minutes to get this all cleaned up, and now we're ready to start working on the rest of the interior. So this door, we can see right here, I got a large bucket with Dawn dish soap. And I like to use hot water. Reason being is because one, Hot water opens pores and materials. Hot water also helps break up grease. So I think a majority of this white hazing is actually grease. And then what I like to use is just some terry cloth bath towels. These are really my tools of the trade. So terry cloth is just a cheap rag from Walmart. Again, I'll link everything. I use a fingernail brush. Again, softer bristles, even the one I was using on the floor. An exterior car sponge that I only use on the interiors of the cars. The other ones I use on the outside, that's for scrubbing bugs. And then one of these, like, it's almost like horsehair type softness. And what that does, this right here is good for these type of panels, these type of cracks, getting in those nitty gritties, because it's a little bit firmer than a paintbrush. You guys can use what you want. I'm going to basically take my hot soapy water and I'm going to basically douse this door, limiting the amount of water I get on this control panel. Obviously we'll use a rag that's wrung out for that. And this initial step is just to cut this grease. Again, this is years and years and years of not being detailed as thoroughly. And like I said, we're just going to start wiping all over. You can get the water all over everything. I would limit electronic controls, and again, just use this with light water. We're going to kind of let that Dawn dish soap sit on there for a little bit, and then we'll come back. All right, everybody, so this is just some remnants of my soap, but you can see all of that white came out with the Dawn dish soap. Again, it's not an intruding odor. It smells nice. I'm about ready to now come in here and do all this. And again, when it comes to these speaker grills, I will use this fingernail brush because it'll get in all of these pores. I use that horsehair one to get in all these grooves down in the cracks. You can see a little bit of dust on here, but we're going to touch up on that. You can see a little remnant of hand grease here, So that's what that white crap was. It was all over this door panel. Once you get done with it, the first thing you can see where sometimes we just need to come back and scrub a little more. There's some more dirt or grime in there. Use one of these brushes, keeping in mind, just be real careful with the edges of these. They are hard plastic and some interiors scratch really easy, so just take your time. That's why I like this fingernail brush. It's a very soft piece of plastic, and you know, like I said, you'll just sit here and just scrub this in with the Dawn dish soap. This isn't my Johson's baby soap. My Johson's baby soap is where I'm actually kind of using like what Armor All would be, but less caustic, less hard on stuff. I'm using the Dawn dish soap to cut the grime, and like I said, it just smells good. It's not an intruding smell. Some of these stuff smell like coconut or pina colada, and that's really not your favorite smell. Maybe you do love it, I don't know. Use what you see fit, but at the end of the day, I try and stay away from chemicals. And I used the fingernail brush to get down in these grooves. Now this is just sand that I've popped up from using some compressed air around here. We can see my first rip around the cab. It's starting to look really good. And again, don't use too much compressed air around the gauges because it can blow up around the seal and get in the speedometer and stuff, so just be real careful with that. But yeah, we've cleaned out these grates initially with the the Dawn dish soap. We've got all the grease. I used it to clean all the fly poop off the ceiling, but you can use the Johson's baby soap. So I don't always have to use Dawn on the interiors. I do that when a vehicle has been used and sat for years or has a lot of dirt and grime, so we'll use the fingernail brush and get down in this groove and get all that cleaned out, and then I will come back and show you what I mean by the Johson's baby bar. This is my Johson's baby bar. I have a couple buckets. Again, I had a professional detailing business, so that's why I have all these buckets, but you can dump this one out, clean it out. Once you're done with the super soapy stuff, you can just go ahead and keep it aside just in case you find some other spot you want to take care of. But this is Johson's baby bar. I have 2 buckets of hot water, as hot as I can stand, 2 new terry cloth rags, and a bunch of terry cloth towels for drying, because I'm going to work this in. It smells good. I'm going to drop it in there initially, but don't leave it in there more than like 30 minutes because it'll start to just kind of melt. So take it out, set it back in the box, and then you can just use that. It'll turn white. The water will kind of turn white. You can use that as your water. Now, I know somebody's going to ask about, what about carpet stains? Most carpet in vehicles is polyester, so I would just use your little green machine. If you don't want to buy a machine, don't have a machine, use your Dawn dish soap, sponge like this, scrub it. You can use these brushes also to scrub it, and then just dab it dry with this. Should come out. Unless it's just something like latex paint or acrylic paint. That is going to be tough, but like lipstick, Dawn dish soap should work for that. Light grease, hamburger grease, stuff like that should come out. So now we're going to basically take this and we're going to apply it on the rag right here. I got another new little brush so I can actually get down in there. You can kind of see how it's already taken kind of milky. And you don't necessarily need the rag to be this one. Now this soap can leave a white residue behind if we don't. That's what this other bucket's for, is we're just going to clean it with the soap now. And then what we'll do from there is then just clean it with the other rag and then dab it dry. So now that we have a little bit of soap on this rag, don't want a ton of water on it, and I will encourage you to only do 1 panel at a time. So you can kind of see how it's wiping on white. That's okay. And I like to do half the door at a time. Now if you get this stuff in these cracks in here, you can literally, if you have an air compressor, just turn the setting down to low and you can just blow it out that, or you can just blow it with your lips and blow in there and blow it down so you don't have to see it, and so that it'll get it out to where you can wipe it down. As you guys remember, this is the door that was all white basically. I wouldn't really smash the soap into the speaker grill, but you can wipe it in there. Again, I'll take that fingernail brush and actually wipe through the actual whole door with this soapy water again. And so we're just going to do this half, and then I'll show you what I do with the clean rag. All right, now I've let this sit on here for maybe a matter of seconds. Start the top, work to the bottom, come back, and now it's time to wipe it basically off. Again, when you get areas like this, you can just blow them out if there is some white residue in there. Some people have asked me, this seems like a lot of work. And again, if you're staying on top of it, this is just a nice maintenance to your vehicle to keep things nice. Or if you're getting ready to sell it, first impressions are everything. If you get in a car that's disgusting and not clean and stinks, smells like something's being covered up, well, maybe something was. So I mean, it's to each their own. You can use some spray, wipe it on, but that's really not cutting the grime off, just kind of layering it and making it nice and shiny for you. So from here, once I get this all wiped down, and again, you'll see both of these buckets of water start turning brown and gray as you start cleaning more and more. This is where I'll blow out the cracks. If you see any white in there, you want to get that out. And then you're going to take your cloth over here and then dry this door off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and do the top of the door, and then I'm going to show you what the whole door looks like finished. All right, so take a look at the door. Look how nice this looks. Again, a lot of those chemicals have like a grease. They're trying to make this shiny, and that attracts a lot of dust. This way will actually leave you the opportunity to just kind of blow it out. So if you have some type of forced air from an air compressor or whatever, you can actually blow it out substantially easier. And again, as we come up here, we can see right here the door switches, super clean. They look good, everything's shiny. Got that little grease pocket back there. It looks really good. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take that Johsnons soap and I'm gonna rub it all over my hand into this leather. Then I'm gonna take that terry cloth and I'm gonna clean it. You can see right here, just years of piled up and stuff. The steering wheel, we did some Dawn dish soap, but we're gonna get it all over here, guys. And like I said, if you get it in these little cracks and there's some white, just reach down and blow it and it'll dissipate and go away. We can use it on the front of electronics, use it on this, use it on the headliner. Hell, you can use it on glass. So I'm gonna keep on trucking. You guys know what it looked like before, and as I've worked it, I've had to vacuum it again because more stuff's came out and gone around. If you need to reuse any of your tools, just make sure you wash them out so they're not still sudsy. But we are gonna crank through, and I will let you see at the very end the final product of the 11 GMC. Promised, here it is. This is the finished product. Put the shade in here so we can kind of see. You can see actually some of the texture is buried behind all that hand grease here. It's not slippery. It actually feels almost like a new steering wheel. Got through all of this. Leather looks good, minus the scratches. Can't do nothing about that. And voila. And it smells really nice in here. Like I said, it just kind of brings out the original smell of the leather. Got all the fly poo off the ceiling. And that's how I do it, guys. So as always, make sure you smash the subscribe button, thumbs up if you don't mind, notification bell so you know I'm posting new content. And we're going to catch you on the next one.